Maureen Maher is here to share more of a chilling report. You sat down and you said, worst nightmare, and very truly, this is for so many, their worst nightmare. I suppose the question isn't so much why was he so hard to find, is how were they actually able to find him at all?
Well, he's now been convicted of crimes that stretch back to 2008, but these two detectives and the FBI special agent who worked on it are convinced that his deeds may go back decades. And one of the reasons he was able to operate in the suburban Denver area for a couple of years without anyone knowing is that he had a map where his house was in the center, and he was able to see and draw where the lines divided the cities and the counties, and knowing if he went from city to city to city, that the municipalities would not be speaking to each other. And it wasn't until Stacey Galworth came home after her first victim interview and was talking to her husband, who also happens to be a cop, and they were sharing what happened during their day, and he said, wait a minute, I think we had a case just like that, like 6 months ago, because there's some specific things that this guy was doing that stuck out. And he said, you should talk to our detective and our precinct. And it wasn't until these two women got together and then they formed a task force in the greater Denver area. That's how they were able to track him down. But he'd been operating very systematically, methodically, going to stay out of everyone's reach, knowing if he was a serial killer, everybody would be talking about it. But a serial rapist, rape just isn't talked about from precinct to precinct to precinct.
And he did, we saw it just in the piece there a bit, he talked about the idea of cutting down on his mistakes.
Yes.
There was, and what turned him on, fear, but what was it then about the preying upon of women?
Well, he says he had tried unsuccessfully when he was in the military to rape two women when he was doing one of his tours. And he said right then, I am going to be successful at this. And so he came back and decided to employ his military training to be able to survey somebody, to do the surveillance on them and not get caught. So it wasn't just the actual rape itself, it was the plotting. He was in these women's homes numerous times while they were sleeping, many nights before he even attacked them, to see where is the furniture placed, where do they leave their shoes at night, where is their phone, so I have the best optimal chance of attacking them on the element of surprise and not getting caught. I mean, he thought about every element of it.
And it takes your breath to hear it.
Yes.
I often, in speaking to folks such as yourself, push up against, I don't want to ruin everything, but how was it that he came to cooperate?
After he is caught, he sits down with one of the FBI agents, Johnny Grusing, who's appeared in many of our shows, but always as someone who was chasing a serial killer. This is the first time Grusing had dealt with a case where the victims were still alive. And so once this man realized they had all of this information, they had an enormous amount of evidence against him, Grusing played to his ego in, you're so smart. You're so cunning. Can you maybe share some of that? And there was an opening where the defendant was willing to do it. And he sat down for almost 4 hours, and playing to this guy's ego got him to reveal each one of his steps and more information on for profilers in the future.
And so you mentioned it may go back decades. Did he begin sharing details of other cases that had gone cold?
This is, if everything we already know about him and that he has already copped to isn't scary enough, Josh, what makes it scary is that there is a hard drive that has been sent all over the country to experts, including Quantico. They cannot break into it. They know that there are hundreds of pictures of other women on there, but he won't discuss any of it. So if he's already copped to some of the most horrible crimes you can think of, what possibly could be left on this hard drive that he will not reveal? Is it a cat and mouse game of just someone gets to keep talking to him and he has an outlet? Or is it that it's so much worse? We just don't know yet.
Absolutely chilling. Wow, okay. This is watchable, if nothing else. Maureen, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
You can watch Maureen's full report again, Hunted, tomorrow night on 48 Hours. It's the second part, actually, of a 48 Hours double feature. It begins at 9, 8 Central, only on CBS, and do not miss it.